I won a trip to the Caribbean in a contest, but my husband Andrew threatened to divorce me if I didn't let him and his mom go instead. He used the trip as leverage to get his way. His mom seemed pleased with his plan. I couldn't let them get away with it. I'm determined to get back at them. My name's Lillian, and I'm 32 years old. I work a regular job and have a son named Andrew. I didn't really date much in college and didn't think much about romance until later. When I turned 30, my parents, worried about me, helped me find someone to marry. Andrew seemed like a good match. He cared a lot about his family, which was important to me too. We got married, and everyone was happy for us. It felt like a dream come true. About 6 months into our marriage, I got a bunch of calls from Andrew. He sounded really tired when I called him back. He told me his dad, Alfred, had collapsed at home and was rushed to the hospital. It was shocking news because Alfred had always been healthy. After Alfred passed away, Andrew became very attentive to his mom, who was now alone. He'd visit her every day, take her out for dinner or shopping, and even took time off work to go on a trip with her. It's not like he ignored me, but whenever there was a conflict in our plans, he'd choose to be with her. He'd say things like, "Sorry, Lillian, Mom needs me," or "We planned this with Mom a while ago." I'd agree, but deep down, I felt frustrated. Why was I always the one having to compromise? Wasn't Andrew's mom being a bit too demanding? No matter why Andrew is so attentive to his mom, it's clear he's really close to her. Apart from this issue, our marriage was fine. I just figured this was normal. My personal escape? Doing crossword puzzles with prizes. They were perfect for when Andrew was busy with his mom. Sometimes, I even win gift cards or food. One day, I won a big prize, 2 tickets to the Caribbean. I was so excited, I checked the win multiple times. But before contacting the airline, I had to decide who to take. My first thought was Andrew, but I hesitated. He often traveled with his mom, and I didn't want her to come along if I suggested we go together. After thinking it over, I decided to give the trip to my parents. On my way home, I stopped by my parents' place to share the exciting news. "Mom, guess what? I won tickets to the Caribbean," I exclaimed. Mom's eyes widened with delight. "Wow, that's fantastic. You and Andrew must be thrilled." I hesitated for a moment before replying, "Actually, I want you and Dad to have them." Mom was taken aback. "For us? Are you sure?" she asked, pleasantly surprised. "Absolutely. Andrew travels a lot already. I want you two to enjoy this opportunity," I explained. Mom was beaming with joy, but Dad seemed worried. "Dad looks concerned," I noticed. "Well, I have work, dear. It's a busy time of year for our company, so it's not ideal for me to be away," Dad explained. "That's too bad," I sighed. Then Dad had an idea. "Why not go with Olivia instead? It was your prize originally, right? Go and have some quality time with her," he suggested. Mom eagerly agreed, saying, "That sounds wonderful." Feeling excited and grateful, I applied for leave the next day, which was quickly approved. I then contacted the airline to let them know my parents would be using the tickets. On my way home from work, I stopped by a bookstore and bought a guidebook for the Caribbean trip. It had been ages since Mom and I had traveled together, and I was genuinely thrilled. But when I got home, something unexpected awaited me. "I'm home," I announced as I walked in, surprised to see the lights on. I assumed Andrew was there, but instead of his shoes, I spotted a familiar pair of women's shoes at the entrance. As I wondered, Matilda emerged from the living room. "Lillian, do you know what time it is?" she scolded. "Oh, Matilda, I didn't realize you were here," I replied. "It's not just about me being here. It's late and Andrew will be back soon," she continued. "I'm sorry, I'll make dinner right away," I apologized. But Matilda didn't stop there. She criticized me for not making the bed and questioned if I took my role as a daughter-in-law seriously. Matilda sighed, blaming my working for the situation. According to her, I should prioritize home over work. She had a key to our place and often dropped by unexpectedly since she lived nearby. Matilda held old-fashioned beliefs about a daughter-in-law's role, expecting me to serve Andrew and the family without question. Her constant criticism made it hard for me to warm up to her. As I unpacked and began making dinner, Matilda suddenly exclaimed, "Wait, what's this, Lillian? Are you planning a trip to the Caribbean?" She had found the guidebook I had just bought. "Matilda, why are you going through my stuff?" I asked, annoyed. "That's not the point. Why are you going to the Caribbean?" she demanded. I won a trip in a contest. I was going to give it to Mom, I explained. I haven't heard anything about this. Why should I? Matilda snapped back. Our argument was interrupted by Andrew's arrival. Matilda quickly told him what she found, pointing at me accusingly. Andrew, listen. Lillian's being thoughtless. Did she do something wrong? She asked. Andrew turned to me, his expression stern. What's going on? He demanded. I won the trip and wanted to give it to my parents. But since Dad can't go, you're going with Mom. I replied calmly. Why didn't you talk to me about this? It's my prize, Andrew said, looking frustrated. What's the big deal? You always travel with Matilda, I retorted. It's not the same. Mom and I only go on trips within the country. We haven't been abroad in years. How could you decide this without talking to me? Andrew slammed his hand on the table, cutting me off. You're getting too bold for a daughter-in-law. Mom and I are going. You stay home. Mommy, I couldn't hide my disdain at Andrew's childish word choice. Wait a minute. This trip, you've had enough. If you're not happy, let's talk about divorce. Divorce? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Threatening divorce over something like this seemed absurd to me. Fuming, I shot back. I won this trip fair and square. I've already decided to give it to my own mom. Can't you just pick up on the signals for once? Mom wants to go. When does it end with putting Matilda first? You never think about how I feel. I don't care how you feel. Like I said, this trip is for me and Mommy. Stay home and behave. Andrew insisted coldly. My affection for Andrew was quickly fading. It was clear I ranked lower than Matilda in his eyes. I couldn't keep dealing with their ridiculous dynamic, so I calmly told Andrew, fine, do what you want and enjoy your trip. You should have listened in the first place. Do what you want, Andrew replied dismissively, a far cry from the caring Andrew I once knew. Meanwhile, Matilda looked smug and victorious. I decided to leave the house while they were away on their trip. I resolved to let Andrew and Matilda have their vacation this time. The next day, I called the airline to change the names on the tickets to Andrew and his mom. But the operator sounded worried as they told me, I'm sorry, but once the participants are confirmed, we can't change them. Is that so? I asked, feeling disappointed. Yes. Plus, this ticket requires the actual winner to be one of the travelers. So if it's your husband and mother-in-law, the ticket won't work, the operator explained. So if I don't go, the ticket is useless, I clarified. Exactly. Please check the documents we sent you. They mentioned this condition, they advised. After reviewing the documents, I found out that only the winner could use the ticket, and it couldn't be transferred. I explained this to the operator and decided not to go on the trip without telling Andrew and Matilda. Instead, I made plans to let them travel at their own expense. That evening, when I got back from work, I casually brought up the Caribbean trip to Andrew. Hey, about the trip. I started. Yeah? Did you talk to the airline? Are Mommy and I all set to go? Andrew asked eagerly. I did call them. Here are the winning documents and the tickets. I only need the tickets. I won't bother reading the documents, I replied. But there might be important details in there, especially since it's an international trip, Andrew suggested. I don't think I need to. Mommy and I have got it covered. We're efficient, unlike you, I retorted. Fine, whatever. I'll leave them here just in case, Andrew said, sounding annoyed. As I expected, Andrew didn't bother to read the documents. On the day of the trip, after making sure Andrew had left, I packed my bags and went to my parents' house. While unpacking, as I anticipated, I got a call from Andrew. As soon as I picked up, he started shouting. Hey, what's going on? They're saying the ticket can't be used, he exclaimed. That's right. If the winner doesn't go, the ticket is invalid, I explained calmly. What? Why didn't you tell me this earlier? Andrew demanded. I did tell you. Remember? I mentioned it might be a good idea to read the instructions, I reminded him. You mean it was written in those documents you gave me? Andrew asked, sounding frustrated. Exactly. It's your fault for not reading. This is ridiculous. So how are we supposed to get to the Caribbean? Andrew asked, his tone getting more agitated. Well, the operator did mention that if the winner doesn't go, you'd have to pay the full price. I replied matter-of-factly. Clearly caught off guard by the situation, Andrew sounded frantic. I could hear Matilda's voice in the background, indicating they were both in distress. Andrew, what did Lillian say? Matilda demanded. Mommy, if Lillian doesn't have to pay for the trip. Andrew started to explain before handing the phone to Matilda. Let me talk to her. I can't deal with this anymore, she demanded. I decided to let them sort it out themselves and hung up silently. It didn't take long before Andrew called back. Hello, I answered, expecting more drama. What is it now? I'm busy, I said coldly. It's not. What is it? Andrew sounded flustered. I tried to buy the tickets, but the credit card isn't working, he explained. Huh? I don't know anything about your card, I replied, puzzled. It's not mine. It's your card, Andrew clarified. Oh, so you're saying you used my card without my permission? I accused. I just need to fix it now. When I checked my wallet this morning, my card was missing. I had a hunch and immediately froze it. I knew you stole it, Andrew retorted. Are you kidding me? I was planning to shop with that card abroad. Always messing things up, you jerk. I fired back. You freaking witch. Andrew snapped. He showed no remorse for taking the trip or for using my card without permission. This guy always put himself first. Fed up with his behavior, I coldly told him off. A jerk? Who were you calling that after mocking others all the time? You should just go to hell, I exclaimed. What? Who are you talking to like that? Andrew asked, sounding offended. Who do you think? Calling out for Mommy is honestly creepy. If you love Mommy so much, why don't you two just stay together? I can't handle you, a mama's boy. There's no value in us being married, I declared. Hey, calm down. If you keep this up, we'll divorce, Andrew threatened. Fine by me. I was thinking the same thing. I've left the house and don't plan to come back. Enjoy your time abroad with your beloved Mommy. Hope you both drown in the Caribbean. I shot back before hanging up, feeling both angry and relieved. Furious, I ended the calls and blocked Andrew and his mother. Then I went to a law firm my dad suggested and started the process of ending my marriage. When I looked at our savings to divide our assets, I saw that our joint account was empty. Andrew had taken out money multiple times, all around the time he went on a trip with his mom. It was clear he used the money for their travels. And he also used my credit card without asking. I demanded a big payment from him. As a result, he ended up owing money and was being chased by creditors. His mom, who used to get whatever she wanted, now had a strained relationship with Andrew, arguing with him every time they saw each other. It's funny how things turned out considering how spoiled he used to be. Meanwhile, I decided to stay with my parents for a while. I've caused them worry, so I want to make it up to them by living with them and taking care of them. Honestly, I'm done with marriage. What's really important is having a loving family. Going through this divorce made me realize that all over again.